What's up, guys? We are day 17 of the veg cycle for these new ladies in here, and we're going to do a breeder reveal. We're going to let you know what we got in here today. So the two in the center over here are from Purple Caper Seeds, and these are Alpha Skunk Cheese feminized. So everything we have in here is feminized, and if you want any of these seeds, you can find these people on Instagram. Not sure if everybody has a YouTube page, but most of this stuff all come from Instagram. This is from Luna All Day. This is Verde Skunk. This is Chili Verde times Alpha Skunk. So actually, you see over here we've got Alpha Skunk Cheese, and then from Luna, she's done the Chili times Alpha Skunk. I'm not sure if they're the same lineage, but same name, but there's so many different types. This is another Verde Skunk from Luna. So this goes with the 4 or the 3 over there. And then these 3 here are from OK Calyx, and you can find him on YouTube or Instagram. Grape Gushers times Peach Pistols. And I must say, the stem rub on this, wow, strong. We've got 2 right here from Bent Wizard. These are his Maybelline, and this is BWK times X18 times Straw Nana. So yeah, take that with what you want. Then we've got Jolly Pond Farms, sent to us by George Genetics. They did a collaboration. George Genetics, I can't find his page anymore, but Jolly Pond Farms is available and got some really good stuff. This is Frey's Marmalade, and I'm not sure of the lineage on these 2 here, but those are the Frey Marmalades. And then this over here, last but not least, is the Hulk Blood Genetics. This is his Chi Walker Kush. And this is a hybrid indica. Doesn't give us much other than that, but also has a really good stem rub and is the biggest plant so far in the grow, although we do have some ones catching up quite quick. So that's our breeder reveal, and that's what we're running this time. So we've got some Kush, we've got some, I don't know, Frey's Marmalade, we've got some Maybelline. Not sure what's going on in there. There's all kinds of different crosses. We've got OK Calyx's Grape Gushers times Peach Pistols. We've got the Verde Skunk from Luna. And we've got the Alpha Skunk from Purple Caper. And that's what we're working with. We've also got a few extras over here. I say extras, they're not really extras, they're just something I'm playing with. Couldn't fit them all in there, and this is I believe a which one was this? I can't remember. It's not going to be much anyway. Let's see if I can get, no, oh yeah, there's a name on that. Let's see if I can see which one. That's a Maybelline. Yep, that's a Maybelline from Bent Wizard, I believe. This is another Maybelline from Bent Wizard. This is an Alpha Skunk, and that's an Alpha Skunk, I believe. So that's what we're working with, and hopefully everything turns out really good. We hope for the best, right? Let's see what we got going on down here. Is that Cooter eating algae? Yeah, look at him. Yum. He likes to eat that algae off the grass. cool to see him doing that. Rare to catch him. When he sees me, he usually just shoots right on up. Like, where's my worm at? Where's my worm at, Daddy? Huh? You got the mollies down there. He sees me now. He's like, what you doing? Where's my worm? I guess I should get him a worm, huh? He's getting used to getting a worm every morning. So we'll get him a worm. You gotta be quick though. Ah, gotcha. A pile of algae and poo that worms just love to eat. Alright, here you go. I'm gonna put it on your log here. You wanna see? Come on. He saw me coming and he ran off. Well, I'm just gonna set it right here. Oh, well, I threw it down in there. First come, first serve, guys. There's a worm in there. And he's active. Who's gonna get it? Who's gonna get the worm? Ooh, the shiner is close. You see it though. Come on now, I know somebody wants it. I'm not gonna let that worm go to waste, I know. Of course, nothing goes to waste in here. It will get eaten. Where did you go, Coot? You ran off when I threw you a worm in there to you. Well, eventually they'll get it. There's a shrimp. I can't believe that shiner hasn't gotten it yet. I know he sees it. We'll come back. See, it'll be gone by the time we get back. There's all the school of mollies there. That worm is trying to dig into that log, boy. Let me in, let me in. Where is Cooter at? Where'd you go? Yeah, I'm trying to dig into that log. You can actually see him trying to dig in. That's cool to watch, though. Oh, that worm is just trying its best to get into that log. I don't know where Cooter went to. Oh, there it goes. Shiner got it. I knew he would. That's cool. Cooter lost out on his worm. We'll throw another one down there later. Check out our IMO 5. Is very nice. Right where we want it to be. Just under 120. So this is the second cook for this pile, we've added some compost, we've added some kelp meal, I added a little bit of rabbit poo. So she's cooking. Once that's done, she'll be ready to we'll be ready to cut these pots off and pile up this IMO 5 around our ladies, and we'll be good to go for the rest of the way. Pick up these nice here. I had to lay these down just to make sure I remembered which ones were which, so I don't get the names wrong. Some of these things, the names on them are crazy. Like phrase marmalade. I guess that's, who knows how people name these things. They could be named after your grandma for all I know. So, that's the cool thing about doing your own genetics. When you make your own genetics, you can call it whatever you want. If grandma's around when you're doing it, then it can be grandma's cut. It is what it is. Check out this stump here, just slowly getting eaten away. Come on now, focus. Yeah, that thing is just getting... Oh, it's soft too. It's like gooey. Oh yeah, it's getting loose too. It's starting to break down. That's what we want. All that root system down there is breaking down. You can see this is the old thrip damage here. Could be a leaf miner, but probably thrip. Started off with some bad thrip damage at the bottom. That's usually how it works. Everything, as these plants are down low, they really get attacked. That's why they're in the cups. They get attacked. Let me sit down here. Oh, my back hurts. They'll get attacked, and from all the little critters and stuff down here, all the isopods and the... we can just sit here and watch them if you like. Living soil and the isopods and the springtails and all the rove beetles and you name it. I call them critters just because so I don't have to remember all the names, but yeah, everything we can see is just the first stage of breaking down. The things we can't see are really doing the work underneath the soil, like those the microorganisms that we can't see, excuse me, are really doing all the work. So that's what these guys are feeding. So picture it on a scale of a food pyramid scale. There's a hierarchy there. We are higher up on the food chain than most. And there's a food chain down here as well called the soil food web. And the soil food web was created by Dr. Elaine Ingham. And you can look that up. I highly recommend the soil food web. Just about every teacher that I have been following on YouTube and other platforms all stem back to Dr. Elaine Ingham and her work in the soil food web. A lot of books have been written about it. Jeff Lowenfels, all these different people who met Dr. Elaine back in the day and have learned her practices and are getting into the microscope and seeing actually and realizing that there is a pyramid here. There's a chain of events. There's a web of, it's a cycle. And just think of it as a food cycle. Big eats small, small eats smaller, smaller eats smaller, on down the food chain. And all those things are eating and pooping. And then we get into the molecular side where all their poop gets broken down and the minerals from their poop are made available to the plants in their exudates. So the sun, the lights, give us that energy that they need to produce the sugar, to send that sugar down to the soil system, push it out of their roots in exudate form, feed the microorganisms, which in turn feed on whatever the plant wants, and then it returns that right back to the plant. The plant grows and the cycle continues. I was talking to somebody the other day about chop and drop, and how like chop and drop, I'm not really chopping it and just dropping it. What I'm doing is I'm going to chop it off the plant, and then I'm going to chop it up. I'm going to chew my food before I put it on my stomach. This is the stomach. The soil is the guts. And when I put down something into my guts, I don't swallow it whole. I chew it first because it makes it easier for the biology to break it down faster, in turn giving me energy faster. So that's what we do. Everything I chop off of a plant gets chopped up and chewed up and sent back to the gut. And that is it basically. As this stuff breaks down, you'll notice compost piles shrink. And the reason they shrink is because they're getting eaten and pooped out. And that's what's happening here. Some of these spots here will shrink down. That's what we make the IMO 3, 4, 5 for. This is what we return more food to what's being eaten. We're just sped up the process over here with this by letting it being eaten and cooked before we put it in. This way now when we put this in, the worms will immediately go to it just like they go to this here. This is all that is in this pot here and in these pots, is that right there. So I'm literally growing these plants directly out of IMO 5 right into the bed. And the worms run through all of this and it breaks down into the soil. So when we go to cut these pots off, we will cut the pots off and then just pile up IMO all up around the stalk here. And then when we do that, roots will start to grow out the top here. And these plants will really take off. And once they take off and flower, they will stretch like crazy and they will want that food. And there'll be plenty of food in here to go around. Hopefully the longer this bed goes, the more that sand, silt, and clay will get broken down into this organic matter here. You can see that used to be sand, silt, and clay. It's been run through and looks like worm castings because it is worm castings. You see the sand, the silts, and the clays. This is what's being worked, being mined by all these critters. They're mining that sand, that silt, and that clay and the organic matter for the nutrients. And once they get it, they poop it out into a smaller form, and then it just keeps cycling on through, and then the plants get it, and voila, we have the cycle of life. But we got to have that water too. So that water is being wicked up from the creek, and which is supplying our water to all the critters, so we don't have to. In most situations you would have to come in here and water these plants and maintain that moisture in here. If we were to go away for a couple of days and we didn't have like a drip line system, or somebody wasn't in here watering correctly, things would go awry. So what I've done is basically figured out how to maintain the proper amount of wicking action coming from the side of the creek, coming from this, and that all determines on how much sand and silt is connected to the creek system. So we had too much through here, and it was wicking way too much water, so I just pulled some of that sand and silt off the wall to keep it from wicking so much. Right here is where it's really wicking up a lot, and it comes over the wall and then gets distributed across the soil bed because that sand and silt is extended. So it'll just keep wicking and wicking and wicking all the way up to the rock wall here. And in turn, these roots will go to the wall for its nutrients and its water. Once these roots get into the soil past these cups, the water supply is constant. I never have to worry about it. The only thing I have to worry about is just maintaining the moisture level on the top here, just on that thin layer of top, that mulch layer basically. We don't want the mulch layer to dry out completely. We do want a little dry out. We don't want it soaked all the time, but we want it moist just underneath that level there. And you can see it's just super active. It's constantly being turned. You see, I don't have to turn it because the critters are turning it for me. They're doing the work. This is the life of the soil. So living soil, if people talk about living soil and they don't like isopods, well, I'm telling you, isopods are part of nature. Look at springtail. Are part of nature, and if you don't have them, then you're missing a link, because I promise you, go outside and you flip over any piece of organic matter, you're probably going to find an isopod. They're that prevalent. They can get out of hand in small areas if they don't have the space. So space is key in living soil. They need an area to set up shop and live and produce. The lizards come in, and all these isopods are lizard food. They're turtle food. They're all different. This is why we need those lizards in here. We need the turtles. We need, the wasps, the black soldier flies. All these different species are part of the food chain. We need them. We don't want to fight them. We don't want to get rid of them. We want to feed them. Let them do their job. And in return, they will give us food for our plants. Just need to be a little patient with it and not force feed the system. So this takes time. And if you don't have any patience, this is not the game for you. I promise. Because if you get impatient and you start throwing things at it, you start seeing bad things happening and you don't know what to do, don't wig out. It's a cycle. It will play itself out. Don't go throwing a bunch of crap at it. The cycle will play through, and once it's gone and done its cycle, it usually will fix itself. And all we have to do is maintain. And if we ever do have a problem, it's like I said, we use the beneficial bacterias and fungi that we know we have, like the EM1s, the lactic acid bacteria. All these things, we can bring in more clean organic matter, which is the IMO 5 and 4. So all these things will fix the problems. It's kind of just like in a fish tank. If you have a problem, instead of going and throwing a bunch of chemicals to solve the problem, all you really need to do is a good water change. That water change replenishes all the minerals, it removes all the nitrates and harmful ammonias and stuff that have built up over time that haven't been eaten. So we get too much food in the pantry, and a lot of it will go bad because it isn't being eaten. So there's a balance. We need to fill the pantry up to the point where it's being eaten, and then we replenish the pantry with new food as it's being eaten. And that's the basics of how I'm running this system. It's basically a work in progress. Look at, I want to show you the mollies all around that shrimp right there. That shrimp has not a care in the world. Look, the scooter, the mollies were all around that shrimp right there, and that shrimp does not care. And they don't attack the shrimp. It's like the shrimp knows. Oh, there's both turtles. Because the shrimp knows why he's going to try and get him. Nope, didn't. Nope. Look at that. Not even scared. It's like the turtles and everything knows that the shrimp are there for a reason, and they're not to be messed with. Plus, the shrimp, they probably wouldn't catch them anyway. They're so fast. They're lightning fast. I mean, like, so fast you can't see them when they dart off. It's like, whoa, where'd it go? It's like it just disappeared. Which is really cool to watch. But we have a lot of shrimp. We have, actually I saw one in the creek right there just a second ago. Look at him right there. Oh yeah, eating away at the poo. So there are a lot of shrimp, and I only put in, I think, 10 at the beginning, and I have not touched them since. I haven't done anything. So they are reproducing big time. Well, that's today's walk around, and I appreciate everybody subscribing and liking and following. And we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.